What's up, guys? ArtistVersion1 here, and welcome back to another edition of Stories No One Asked For, the podcast. In case you don't know, I wrote a book about 4 years ago called, Stories No One Asked For, the podcast. And upon numerous attempts of trying to write a follow-up book, I just couldn't focus. I couldn't focus. I even had writer's block at one point on my own fucking life, on how to write my own life. So I figured, why not just take all those stories that I would eventually write for a second book, and even some that I've even written for the first book, and verbalize them and put them into a podcast. And that is what I do here on Stories No One Asked For, the podcast. And sometimes even bring on some special guests. Let them talk about their stories that you didn't ask for as well. And tonight is a very personal story that I put off a long time doing. I kept telling myself I have to be in the right mindset to do it. I have to be in the right mindset to do it. And I still don't think I'm in that right mindset to do it, but I figured I'm going to do it anyway. So yeah, we're going to do that one here tonight. So, but before we get to that, just fair warning, this might be a little bit of a downer episode, but before we get to that, let's talk about some good stuff. Let's talk about the great people over at MoviesAreUSA.biz, who proudly sponsor Stories No One Asked For, the podcast. And if you don't know what MoviesAreUSA.biz is, they are a great website where you can head on over and find those hard to find TV shows, hard to find movies, those streaming movies that they don't release on DVD and Blu-ray. Just look at Target and Best Buy, who are giving up on their physical media. Look at the Walmart section. Walmart used to be like a nice plethora of like physical media and everything, and even that section is just dwindling down, just year after year. But MoviesAreUSA.biz is keeping that alive, letting you have a physical copy of your favorite movie or TV show. And if you head on over there and use my checkout code ARTIST, ARTIST, at checkout, you're going to save not 10, 20, 30, or 40% on your checkout. No, you're going to save 50. That's right, 50% on your checkout. And on top of all that, you're going to get free first-class shipping as well. And for the very few international listeners that I have, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, I want some of that goodness, you can. You don't have to pay that expensive international charge and everything. You're going to get free first-class international shipping as well. And you can still use that checkout code ARTIST. They have over 3,500. That's right, 3,500 titles to choose from. And if for some reason you go over there and you're like, hey, they don't have the title I want. Well, hey, that's not a problem. Email him. Say, hey, I'm looking for this. He's more than happy to look for a title, and he'll try his best to try and get that title for you. Just some of the titles they offer here. I got my paper right here. Let's see. They have the Wonder Years, the new Wonder Years, which is good. They have all the Simpsons. Simpsons stopped producing DVDs because, again, people weren't, buying them that much. Unhappily Ever After. The Peacock exclusive, Twisted Metal, Sailor Moon, just all that and more. Just head on over to MoviesAreUSA.biz, use my checkout code ARTIST, save yourself 50% on your checkout, and so let them know that ARTIST sent you. All right, deep breath. Whew, let's talk about this story, because okay. This gets really weird in certain parts. Let's talk about Tatiana. Tatiana is a story that I wrote in my first book. And, and it's probably the story in the book that still, to this day, even to this day, I probably still think about every now and then. And it's the weirdest thing because we never dated. I never fucking, we never went on a date or anything like that. So let's go back to the beginning. I was working at Hy-Vee, and they hired two new people up front. I was working at customer service. One was this one girl who was just fucking bonkers. And that's probably a shorter story for another day, but whatever. But then I also saw this, cute little blonde girl, and I was like, wow, she's really cute and everything. Turns out her name was Tatiana. And, a lot of the people that I met at Hy-Vee, I honestly couldn't tell you how organically I started talking to them. I think, usually I just start joking around with people. Like if they're bagging for me at my register, that's usually when I start joking with them and such. like making fucking food puns or whatever. That's usually how I start talking to people. And I'm fairly certain that was the same way with Tatiana. I think one day I ended up on the register and she was bagging for me, and we just got talking. And she's Russian. She's Russian, new to language, all that good stuff, man. You know, so we started getting chummy and everything. Talking and everything. Nothing serious. Just little quips and jokes and shit every now and then. And I like making people laugh. I think obviously. So like when I tell a joke and see her like fucking giggle and shit, that fucking like haha, gotcha. So we traded Snapchat names. No, not that kind of. We weren't having that kind of relationship. Because at the time, I think like this was right before she started seeing one of the guys at High B. This other fucking psycho, whatever. Um, so anyway, and now I'm about to get a fucking real lesson on the type of person Tatiana was. Because I think one night we were both getting off at the same time. And I went over to her and I was joking with her. I was just joking with her about something. And like she fucking like flipped her shit, man. Like she thought I was for real. And I was just like, yo, I'm just joking and everything. And she was fucking adamant about like, fuck off and all this shit. I was like, you know what? I don't fucking need this because like at that point in my life at Hy-Vee, like, if I considered you cool, you were cool and shit like that. That's all there was to it. But like, if you were gonna fucking get pissy over something, like non-confrontational and shit, I was just gonna cut you off. Like a side story. There was a girl there named Jenna who I was cool with, and not the same Jenna that I mentioned in a previous story. But like, like we were joking around one night, and I was trying to show her something. And she was like, "Will, I really just don't care," and never talked to her again after that. She tried numerous times to talk to me, and I just would not fucking talk to her. Because she just did not understand that, like, fucking, like, don't talk to me that way. So it was one of those situations where I'm just like, we were just having a good time, and you're gonna fucking get all pissy. So fuck it, I'm done talking to you. So I'm at home one night, and I get a message from Tatiana on Snapchat, and it was basically, like, hey, I'm sorry about going off at work like that and everything. I'm kind of temperamental and blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, you know what, I can understand that because I'm temperamental too. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking argue about it. I'll tell you right now, I'm a temperamental person. I too can also flip out at easy shit. So I was like, okay, you know what, we're all good. We're cool. So one day I'm at customer service. I didn't have this story written down, but I got to mention it before I go to the next story. One day I'm at customer service. Apparently Tatiana was missing some. She had to miss something for work, but she didn't want to lose the hours, and she didn't know how to ask, upper management about that. So she came to me. And she was like, "Will, I gotta miss, I gotta miss something for work, but I also don't want to lose the amount of hours for it. Like, how do I go about doing that?" I was just like, "Well, just tell them what's going on. I mean, it's as simple as that. They're usually very flexible with stuff like that. I mean, Hy-Vee can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but like if you tell them like, hey, I have this going on, and you want to make it up somewhere, they'll work with you and everything, you know." And she was like, yeah, but, I don't know if they'll give me the day for it, and blah, blah, blah. So then her mom walks up, and I'm meeting her mom for the first time, you know? And she was like, oh, this is my mom. Mom, this is Will. I was like, hello, nice to meet you. And her mom was basically just telling me the same thing that Tatiana just told me. Like, oh, she doesn't want to miss today, but she also, she has to miss today, but she doesn't want to miss the hours and such like that. And but she also doesn't want to miss the thing. I finally just said, I was just like, Tatiana, the easiest thing to do at that point would just, on the day of your thing, just call in. Just say you're sick and just call in. Her mom gave me a look that fucking still haunts me to this fucking day. Because her mom gave me a look of just like, what the fuck did you just suggest? Did you just suggest that she fucking call in? And I looked at her face and I was like, okay, never mind. Do not go with that plan. Holy shit. Okay, like the look, I wish I could fucking show you guys this look of how, like, fucking, I was terrified of that woman then. Because, like, every time I saw her after that, I'm just like, hello. You know, just look down at the fucking floor. Because, like, I was terrified of that woman. And she knew it. They used that shit against me, you know, is how fucking, you know, messed up it was. So, anyway, time goes on and we're just, you know, we're chumming along and shit. The holiday party comes up. Now, I know this sounds weird, but our Christmas holiday party was in fucking February. I know, sounds weird, but it was. Now, at the time, Tatiana just got over this relationship she was in with one of our coworkers, and that, like I said, that guy was fucking batshit crazy. Okay, so you know, I'm asking other people because, like, that was the night I was gonna do the first lip sync battle. You know, so I'm asking everybody, like, hey, you coming tonight? Because I'm gonna be in lip sync battle. You know, and everything. They're like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna come. Da, da, da. What about you? You coming? Da, da, da. I finally get to Tatiana. No, I messaged her on Snapchat. That's what it was. I messaged her on Snapchat. I was like, hey, you coming to the holiday party tonight? And she was like, no, that's okay. I was like, why not? She was like, I don't want to go and fuck it, his name's Christian. She was like, I don't want to go and Christian be there. I was like, I've already asked Christian. Christian said he's not coming. She was like, really? I was like, yeah, I asked him about 20 minutes ago. Because she was off that day. So, like, I'm at customer service, like, texting and shit. And she was like, really? I was like, yeah, he said he's not coming. I think he said he had homework or something to do. I don't know, some shit. And she was like, oh, okay. She was just like, well, I still don't know if I want to come. I was like, come on, Tatiana, it'll be fine, you know? And I'm just trying to, like, coax more people to come, you know, because lip sync battle, and it sounded like a good time and shit like that. And she was like, okay, I'll come, but you got to hang out with me. I was like, done. Do it, you know? And I was like, not a problem and shit. Because, like, at the time, I believe, was I seeing Emma yet? I can't remember if I was with Emma yet. I was either with Emma or about to be with Emma, one of the two. But I was like, shit, yeah, fuck, come along, man, you know? And don't get me wrong, let me just stress this right now. Fucking Tatiana was fucking a gorgeous fucking girl. Gorgeous. She had, like, the long blonde hair that I like. She checked all the boxes that I like. Beautiful hair, fucking shorter than me. She had all the fucking boxes that I liked, you know? So I was like, shit, you want to hang out with me? Fuck yeah, come hang out with me and shit. And she was like, okay, well, I'll try and be there around this time. It was like an hour after the party started. I was like, cool, sounds good and shit. Just text me when you're here and I'll come find you. She says, okay. So I get to the party and, you know, I'm meeting up with different people. I see my friend Haley, Caleb, my friend Trey, who I used to chum around with at work and shit like that. So, you know, we're waiting for, like, all the festivities to start, you know, lip sync battle, prize giveaways that we did. You know, that night we had poker night, you know, and everything. So, I'm sitting down and Caleb and I forgot who's sitting next to him. I think it was, no, he was gone by then. I forgot, but there was somebody else sitting across from, next to Caleb and next to me, or, down the seat that we had was my friend Trey and shit. Tatiana texts me and says, hey, I'm here. You know? And I was like, hey, we're by this part right here. Come sit with me. So she comes over and she comes sits on my left side. Now, so it's me, Tatiana, Trey, his girlfriend that he brought, and across from me is Caleb and whoever the fuck the other person was. I can't remember. So we're sitting there and shit, right? And they're just like, oh, so Tatiana, you came and everything. I was like, yeah, she was worried that Christian was going to be here, but, you know, I told her that Christian's not going to be here and everything. And they're like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. You know, nobody thought none the wiser and shit. So we're sitting there, we're bullshitting, and I could see Tatiana just kind of like, you know, she's not really, you know, feeling the groove, you know, and shit like that. You know, so we're sitting there and everything, and, you know, just to fucking clown around, just to joke with her and shit. I look off into the distance like I'm looking at somebody. You know, I look off into the distance and I was like, hey, Christian, what's up, man? And everybody, not just Tatiana, but everybody turned around. And Trey's looking off into the distance because he was like sitting off to the left. Caleb, who's sitting in front of me, had to turn around to look like, oh, fuck, he really came? Everybody looked and saw nothing. So, like, Trey and Caleb, they're like, fucking Will and shit. Tatiana did not find this funny at all. So the next thing I know, Tatiana fucking elbows me, and I'm still laughing because I'm just like, okay, you know, fucking the next thing I know, Tatiana fucking reels back and punches me dead in the fucking left eye. Now I'm still laughing because I'm the type of person that like fucking you can do / say some horrible shit to, and it'll take a minute for the shit to sink in. And this was one of those times because like she punched me and I'm like yeah, fucking, and Caleb's mouth just fucking hit the goddamn table. Like I cannot believe I just fucking saw that. Trey just turns the other way, like he's sitting to my left and he turns to the left because he's like I don't want to see what's about to fucking happen. Now once it sunk in that she really just slugged me in the fucking face, I had two options at that point. One, punch her the fuck back. Because I'm part of that fucking equal rights, equal fights type of shit. You know, if you're a man, female, dog, camel, goat, whatever, if you're going to fucking hit me, you're going to get hit back. That's all there is to it. I don't give a fuck. But I was at a company function. I'm pretty sure if I hit her back, she hit me first, thing probably wouldn't have worked. Or the other option was to remove myself from the situation. So that's what I did. I stood up and I fucking left. Like, not left the party, but I left the area that we were in. And I walk over to my friend Haley, who's at the bar, which, of course, she was. And she was like, what happened? And I told her what happened, and she was just like, oh, wow. And I was like, man, fuck this. And, like, we were friends on Facebook, me and Tatiana. This first thing I fucking did was, like, deleted her from Facebook. Because I was like, fuck this. I cannot believe she fucking punched me in the fucking face for that, man. Like, what the fuck, man, you know? So, like, I'm fucking hot, man. I'm fucking hot. Next thing I know, my friends at the time, Paige, Bianca, and Jesse show up. And Paige looks at my face, and she's like, what happened? I was like, what do you mean? She was like, wait a minute. No, that's what it was. Okay, so I come there, and she was like, did fucking Tatiana punch you? And I pointed to my face, and I was like, what's it look like? And she was like, oh my God, she did punch you. You know? So, like, I'm fucking hot. You know, I'm so fucking hot. Next thing I know, Snapchat's going off. Yeah, I was with Emma. Yes, I was with Emma. Yeah, because I remember sending screenshots to Emma. That's what it was. So, next thing I know, Snapchat goes off. And it's Tatiana. And she was just like, listen, I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry. Fucking ignored it. Because, like, I wanted nothing to do with that. And looking back on it now, I think this part's not my book, but looking back on it now, I do kind of feel bad for, not for the joke, because it was a simple fucking joke, you know? But I feel bad for how I went about things that night, because one of the images that, oh God, I'm kind of tearing up talking. I'm kind of tearing up talking about this. But one of the images that I have in my brain for that whole night was whenever I would walk past, like, there's like these large windows at the Paramount Theater. And like every time I'd walk past a certain area, there was Tatiana just like sitting in the corner with like her legs up, you know, just kind of sitting there, and nobody talking to her, nobody like asking her how she's doing or anything. She was sitting there by herself. And, you know, looking back on it now, I feel, at the time I didn't feel bad. But like now looking back on it and considering all the events that transpired, I feel bad about it now. Trust me, you know, a lot of these events here that I'm going to talk about, I really wish I could, you know, go back and do a lot differently. And there's been a lot of events in my life where I'm like, you know, I really wish, you know, I could go back and do that differently, but I wouldn't do that differently. But like I would do, this is one that like, there's a lot of instances where like, you know, I'm like, I'd go back and do that differently. I do that differently. I do that and that and that. And this is one of those times where, you know, cause just that image of her sitting in like her black pants. I remember it like it's yesterday, just her sitting in her black pants and her white tank top, you know, her hair in a ponytail, just sitting in that corner on the window, just fucking, you know, upset that like I just left her there, because she mainly came because she was like, I'll come if you hang out with me, and I was like, of course, you know. But then that event transpired, and I fucking abandoned her for the night. And apparently, the only person that did go and talk to her was my friend Haley. Because Haley, I could hate you to the fucking moon and back, but like Haley will find a way to fucking be your friend. And that was one of those situations where like Haley went and talked to her and apparently asked her, what happened. And, apparently Tatiana was just like, he's mad at me and shit. And Haley just said, just give him time. He gets that way. And, he's just really upset about this, you know. But like I was really fucking upset about this, So I go on stage, I do the lip sync battle as, previously stated. And I get off the stage, I fucking lose, of course. And I'm getting message after message from Tatiana. That's just like your lip sync battle was so good, you should have won, and I'm just ignoring every single fucking one. You know, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I ignore. Like why I didn't delete her from Snapchat, I don't know. Because the first thing I did was delete her from Facebook. Um, Eventually I see that she gets her things and she fucking leaves. So I was like, good, fucking over. I don't have to see her in that fucking corner anymore. For the whole night and everything. Now, the aftermath of that is, we still work together. That's the thing. And, like, we still have to see each other around work. And, my thing is, I can, how do I put this? You ever, somebody in high school where, like, they are, like, the biggest fucking bitch in the world. Like, you're like, I can't fucking stand them, but they look good. This was, like, that type of situation where I was just like, this bitch punched me in the fucking face, and I cannot believe this. But, like, she looked good. It was just, like, one of those things where, like, damn, she's pretty. And it fucking drove me up the wall. And, we kind of fucking patched things up. I think she finally messaged me again on Snapchat. A lot of our shit went on Snapchat. She messaged me and was just like, listen, I'm sorry. Okay? Like, it was... I was like, listen, it was just a joke. He wasn't really there and everything. I think the punch was just a little bit too much and everything. And she was like, I know, and I'm sorry. And I was like, okay. She was like, can we get over this? I was like, we can. So again, we I added her back on Facebook and, we became friends and everything. So, and she would, whenever she had a problem, she would come to me. Like the Christian guy that I mentioned, she apparently he was doing like weird shit, like stalking her or some shit, So whenever she had a problem with him, she'd be like, Will, Christian's doing this and this and this at work. What should I do? I'm like, well, go tell this person, go tell that person, tell them what's going on, tell them what's happened, all this stuff. And she'd be like, okay, thank you. Will, this is happening. Like, what should I do? Will, I don't know how to do this at work. Whenever she had a problem, she would come over to customer service when I was there and she would talk to me. Which, okay, that's fine. That's what friends fucking do and shit. Then one day, she comes over to customer service and she's on her phone. She's texting on her phone. And she has that fucking I'm talking to somebody I like fucking look. You know what I mean? She's fucking she's texting with that big fucking goofy smile. That fucking smile you get when you talk to somebody you fucking like and shit, So I see that smile. I was like, who you talking to? That's that I'm talking I'm talking to somebody I like fucking text right there and everything. And she didn't answer. I was chalking up to one, she wasn't paying attention, or two, she didn't hear me. So she's coming down the counter to go to the fucking money room that's next to customer service counter. And I was just like, come on, who are you talking to? Come on, man. Like, come on, dish. And she was like, no, I don't want to say. I was like, oh, come on, who are you talking to? And she was like, no, I don't want to tell you because you like to spread rumors and say gossip. That fucking took me aback. And I'm just like, the fuck? Like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like, you're the one who comes to me whenever the fuck you need something. Whether it be how to talk to management, whether it be how your fucking stalker ex fucking boyfriend is whatever he's doing to you and shit, you always come to me. and I ask you one question about your fucking life, because meanwhile, while we talk on Snapchat, it's usually like fucking stupid shit. Like I think one time I had to explain to her what a pearl necklace was. You know, shit like that. Like that's the shit we talked about on Snapchat. So like, it wasn't like, so tell me about your childhood. It wasn't shit like that. So like the fucking fact that I'm asking you one thing about your fucking life and that's your response to like I spread rumors and talk gossip. Fucking oh man. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make this easier on you, Tatiana. Just don't fucking talk to me anymore. And I walked away. Because, at that point, I was fucking over it. I've taken a fucking punch in the face from you and fucking forgave you. I've dealt with your fucking, bipolar like fucking attitude so many times that like I was like, you know what? I don't give. After a while, it's just like it's like that crazy hot fucking scale on How I Met Your Mother. It's like you can only be this fucking crazy and this hot for me to fucking still give a shit. And you know what? You're really fucking coming up on that limit. And at that moment, you were at that fucking limit. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done talking to you. You know? Turns out she was texting somebody. She was texting one of our managers that worked with us. And, they eventually start dating and shit, which, okay, cool, good for them. But it became one of those things where, like, this is where the phrase, like, stupid, sexy Flanders comes into play, because there's an episode of The Simpsons where, Homer is trying to learn how to ski, and he's trying to remember what Flanders told him, and the only thing in his brain is like, it feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. And Homer's like, stupid, sexy Flanders. Well, like, I would still see Tatiana around the store, and I'm just like, stupid, sexy Tatiana. Because, like, she would still look good. She would look fucking fantastic. Like, and she'd be walking with her fucking boyfriend and shit, and I'm just like, son of a fucking bitch. This all happens within the span of a year. Because we're at the next fucking holiday party now. And, I do the second lip sync battle and fucking fail miserably and shit. I think it's a couple, it was February, so yeah, about 2 months after that, Tatiana disappears from work. And we're like, huh? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, did she quit? And they're like, no, she didn't quit. And we're like, well, what's going on? They're like, we're not at liberty to say. And we're like, okay. So, come to find out, she had to. Now, this is the story that was told to me. If this ever somehow, and trust me, I'm gonna fucking try. If this ever somehow gets to Tatiana, I mean, please reach out and fucking correct me. But the story that was told to me is that some issues came up to where she had to go to, a hospital. Let's just put it like that. She had to go to a hospital for a while. And it was about 2 weeks. Now, apparently during this 2 weeks, she's she's back at work now. And whatever has transpired between me and her, between the whole rumor and gossip thing, she's forgotten about. She's over it. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not fucking over it. So by this point, they're training Tatiana to be on the register. And I'm at customer service, and I see her fucking walk over to customer service, and I want nothing to do with it at the moment. And she's like, oh my God, I need help. And she turns around, she's like, Will, like desperate, Will. I'm like, what? Because, like, I wasn't having it. She's like, I need help with the door. So, like, I open the door, let her in, and I walk away. That night on Snapchat, I get a message from her that says, hey, what's up? I don't answer it. A couple more days go by, I get a picture from her, and it's like her legs, she's like wearing jeans or some shit, and it's like of her room and shit. And it's like, are you mad at me? And that's when I was just like, I was like, no, I'm not mad at you. I just don't want to start any rumors or gossip. You know, because that's how fucking petty I can be sometimes. You know, I'm a petty fucker. You know, so I was like, no, I don't want to start any rumors or gossip. And you know, Tatiana is typing, so it's just like you're still on that. You know, and that's when, you know, basically the shit I just told you. We're like, you know, you always come to me when you have a problem and shit. I ask you one question about your life, and that was the response to yada yada yada. And it was just like, look, Will, when I get in certain ways, I don't really think about what I say. And that was one of those times where I really didn't think about what I said. I was just like, okay, just like the time you didn't think about punching me in the face, you know? And, you know, just a lot of times I brought up that punch in the face, and that comes into play later, you know? So, um, yeah. So I just started avoiding her, you know? But then, but then it happened. Now, something I may have told people about before, but if you don't, here you go. Something that like I'm a real big believer in, or I wouldn't even say believer, but something that like really touches me to my core. Sometimes are dreams. I, I can't tell you how many fucking dreams I've had in my life where like I wake up and I'm just like fucking out of breath, sweating because I'm just like, holy fuck, was that real? You know, like, you know, I can be a very, very lucid dreamer. You know, I can control what happens in my dreams. I can pull myself out of dreams if I don't like what's going on. It takes a lot of energy, but it can be done, you know. Call me a dream warrior if you want, you know, but you know, I've, again, I don't read a lot. I don't read a lot of books, but like I have read about a textbook size book just about dreams, to understand shit. And to this day, I still don't fucking understand them, you know. But you know, I was having dreams about Tatiana, and again, nothing like fucking hardcore. Not like, oh god, I'm reaming her from behind or anything like, nothing like that. You know, just a very simple dream. And the first one that I remember was we were like organizing. And again, this is again why I had this type of dream. I don't fucking know. But we were organizing a closet. You know, like a big fucking walk-in closet. You know, where there was room for like both of us and shit. And we're having this conversation about what I do not know, and it just ended with like us hugging, and like it was one of those things where like, you know, my fucking brain just forgot for a moment like we're in fucking dreamland. You know, like it forgot to like fucking, you know, we're not dreaming right now, dude. This is happening. You know, to the point that when I woke up, it took me about fucking 20 minutes to realize like, okay, you know, like, okay, whew, that was intense. You know, it took me a minute to realize, okay, that was a fucking dream. Calm it the fuck down. You know? And you know, and there's been other situations in my life where like, you know, dreams have made me fucking, you know, reevaluate situations in my life. I mean, like there was a time where like I was upset with one of my friends and I had this dream about her where, you know, again, nothing weird. You know, it was just a normal fucking thing. I think we're like hanging out somewhere at a mall or something, and I was like, you know what, I should really mend the fence there. You know, so you know, one day at work, I went up to the break room and you know, apologized to her. I was like, listen, I'm really sorry about how I acted and everything. And she's like, it's fine, you know, stuff like that. So I'm real big into dreams. So when I had this dream of Tatiana, man, it just fucked with me, man. It just really fucked with me. But the other half of my brain was just like, dude, you know, like, you know, sh- sh- it could end badly, you know. So meanwhile, um, she's texting me on Snapchat still, like, hey, real sorry about that. Da, 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 da. We're at work one day, and I'm about to make probably one of the big, probably the second biggest mistake I ever made. The first one is fucking, that's a story for another day. So I'm at work, and I'm sitting by the clock, and I'm usually fucking off on my phone waiting to clock in and shit. And Tatiana comes in. She's about to clock in at the same time as me. So I'm sitting there, and she comes and sits down next to me. And again, I don't want anything. You know, at this point, I'm just like, I'm done. You know, like, you know, I've tried to be your friend, and you keep just fucking doing bonkers shit. So you know what? I'm cutting my losses on this one. You know, but she is still trying to be a part of my life. And at this moment in time, I didn't want any of it. So she comes and she sits next to me, and she's drinking a fucking Starbucks, and she's like crossing her arms, but she has like the fucking Starbucks in her hand, and she sits next to me and she says, "Hey," and I'm scrolling my phone, and I just say, and not even looking at her, I'm just like, "Hey," and she's looking at her Starbucks cup. It's one of the clear ones, so I think she has like a Frappuccino or some shit, and she looks at the cup for a second, and then she's like, "Will, have you ever had a?" And I stopped her right there, and I was like, "Nope." Did not care what the fucking next sentence was. I just did not care, you know. And she was just like, "Will, are you still mad about this?" And I was like, "Yep." And she was like, "Will, I said I was sorry." You know, I just nodded, you know, and there was a pause. You know, there was like a pause there. Now, mind you, more people are like showing up around the clock to like wait the clock in. They have no idea what the fuck's going on between us, you know. Not that there is anything between us, you know. So we're sitting there, and she's still sitting next to me and shit. And there's this pause after that sentence, and she has the nerve to say, "So are we good?" And for some reason, that just fucking flipped a switch in me. You know, like fucking all the shit that we've fucking been through and shit like that. Like, again, we're just talking about friendship here. Let me just remind you fuckers at home about that. We're just talking about friendship. I'm not even trying to date her at this moment and shit like that or anything like that. We're just talking about being friends and everything. But like, for some reason, my fucking brain just flipped. And when she was just like, "So are we good?" I'm like, after all that shit, you have the audacity to fucking ask me if we're good. So like, I had my phone in my hand. I clicked my phone off, and I just looked at her, and I was like, "No, Tatiana, we're not good. I'm fucking over it. And for all I care, Tatiana, you can go fuck yourself." And I stood up from where I was sitting, and I walked to the opposite side of the room. And I'll say to this day, um, I said it in the book, and I'll say it here. I regret that decision, because that that was the moment I'm pretty sure I lost her. You know, in general. Um, am I proud of that moment? No. Usually, you know, if it were probably anybody else I was talking about, I'd be sitting here telling you a different fucking story. You know, like, yeah, that was like my proudest fucking moment, man, when I told her to go fuck herself and walked away. But for some reason, she was different. You know, and it bugs me to this day that um that I did that. You know, because again, I have that image in my head of me standing on the other side of the room and just, you know, seeing her out of my peripheral vision, just sitting there with that fucking Starbucks coffee, just sitting there, just like, you know, maybe it was going through her mind, maybe it wasn't, but like to me, it was just, you know, she had that look of just like, did he just fucking say that to me? You know? And that was that. I stopped talking to her. Mind you, we're still friends on Snapchat. You know? No, I lied. No, she unadded me. You know? So, um, that was that. So I thought. Couple months down the road, I find out she and the guy that she was seeing, they broke up. Which, okay, good, you know, whatever. Um, and then the dream started again. And again, nothing raunchy, nothing like that. Just typical fucking dream shit. It's just like I remember one where like I don't even remember where the fuck we were, but like I just remember her arms coming around from behind me. And like knowing Tatiana, it could have been a hug. It could have been her trying to choke me for all I know. But at least in this situation, they were just hanging in front of me to where like I could reach up and put like my hands on her arm, you know. And again, it was just one of those situations where like after I woke up, I was just like, whoa, you know, that was fucking intense. And like I can't remember the one that finally triggered it, but like I finally woke up one day after dreaming of her, and I was just like, I got to do something about this. So I added her back on Snapchat, and I just played it. I did the same thing she did to me. I played it off like nothing was fucking happening. You know, I was just like, "Hey, you unadded me. Well, I'm adding you back and everything." And she just said, "Okay." She didn't say a fucking word after that. So I think I was trying to message her on Snapchat, and like fucking, she wasn't answering. And there was a reason why she wasn't answering. I'll get to that in a minute. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking I'm just gonna go fucking I'm gonna push the chips all in on this one. You know, like fuck, waiting for a check or a call or something. I'm going all fucking in. So I actually get in touch with her ex-boyfriend. Now, mind you, me and her ex-boyfriend did not see eye to eye either because he was a manager and he was kind of a prick sometimes and whatever. So I messaged him on Facebook and I was like, listen, man, I know you and I don't see eye to eye sometimes, but I was wondering if you could help me out and give me Tatiana's phone number because I really need to tell her something. And he was just like, apparently something happened between them that I don't know about because he was just like, he showed me his block phone number list. And he was like, I don't remember which one it was 5 numbers. He was like, I don't remember which one it is, but it's one of these 5. Good luck. And I was like, okay. And it was like block numbers and it was the phone numbers. And he was like, do you mind me asking what's going on? And I never responded to it. So I text the first number, and I just send a text that says Tatiana question mark, no response. Second one, Tatiana question mark, no response. Third one, Tatiana question mark. About a couple hours later, I get a response back that says, yes, who's this? And I was like, hey, it's Will. And she was like, how'd you get my number? I was like, it's kind of a long story. And she was just like, what do you want, Will? Like, I can tell she's agitated. Because, I mean, to be fair, she had a right to be agitated at that point, you know? But I'm about to find out why. So I was just like, hey, I just really need to talk to you about something. And she was like, what? You know, like, I can tell in the fucking text tone, like, in text that she's fucking annoyed, you know? And I basically just run down fucking everything. Just like, hey, I know shit between us is bad, da 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 da, and I fucking pushed the chips all in. And I was like, listen, if you could see it in your heart to fucking, forgive me for what I said and shit, I'd really just like to take you out one night and just so I could get it out my brain. Because to me, it was like the best way I could ever describe it. It was like a food craving, you know. It was like, like, oh, fuck, man, I'm really in the mood for pizza, but no pizza places are open, and your fucking brain and your stomach are just not going to fucking let it down until you get some fucking pizza in your fucking system, and that was my brain at that moment. I was like, my brain is not going to fucking let her go until I fucking just say, hey, would you like to go out? And she's like, no, or yes, you know? So I fucking go all in. I fucking, throw everything on the table. No answer. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's like taking all this in. Give her some time. Don't push her luck on this one. So I wait a couple days. No answer. So I tried calling her. I was like, you know what? Let me call her and see what's up. No answer. I text her. No answer. You know. Finally, I messaged her on Snapchat. I'm like, hey, is there a reason why you're ignoring me? And then finally, she messaged me, and it just, this was like a punch in the fucking gut. You know, there's very few moments in my life where like I've had this fucking moment, but like she hit me hard with it, and I gotta admit, because like you know she can be very intelligent when she wants to be, in certain situations. Not to say that she's stupid or anything, but like, like when I had to explain what a pearl necklace was, the sexual term pearl necklace, she had no fucking idea. Um, but like, there were moments where Tatiana knew what the fuck she was doing. She was playing the chess game here, and she played it very fucking well because she put my ass in check right here. And she was just like, "Why did you ignore me?" And I was like, "What?" She was like, "When um when I came back to High V, why did you ignore me?" And I was just like, "Whew, man, that one, mm, that one hit me." Because I was like, "That's a very fair question." Because you know, I don't even know how to explain it. Because when she needed me, I was there. Whenever she'd walk over to that customer service counter and she'd be like, "Hey, Will, I'm having a problem with this and this and this and that," I was there for her. Whenever she would message me on Snapchat, say, "Hey, I'm having a problem with this and that," I was there for her. And if the story is true about why she disappeared from work, and she was in a hospital, um, probably a time where she really probably could have needed me, I decided to shun her. And you know, so that was a very big question. And for it to come out of nowhere like that, it was just like bam, right in the gut. And that's when it dawned on me. I was just like, "Oh, so that's why you've been ignoring me." I didn't say that to her, but I was like, "That's why you've been ignoring me." You know? Yeah, because I did the same thing to you. And normally I'd be, again, if it were anybody else in this world, there was something special about her. And I don't know what it was, but there was something special about her that if it were anybody else, I've been like, you know damn well why I was ignoring you. But this one, when she was just like, "Why did you ignore me?" I was just like, "Oh, fuck. That's why she did it." You know? And I explained my reasons, which were essentially, just like, "Hey, I did it because of this, the punch in the face, I took a punch in the face for you. Then the rumor and gossip thing, and, I was just fucking over it, and da 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 da." And like, listen, if I could take back the "go fuck yourself" thing, I'd do it. I'd do it 100 times over, and that's the God honest truth. I'll sit here and tell you guys that myself. If I could take back any moment, if you told me like you can only take back one moment in this whole thing with Tatiana, it'd probably be when I told her to go fuck herself. Cause like I'm not proud of that moment. Cause like cause again to again if this ever gets to her, cause trust me, I am gonna try and get it to her. Um, she had her issues, and it was when she was going through whatever the fuck it was that she was going through, and like, god damn it, I'm trying not to cry. um you know it was probably a time where she needed or wanted to talk to me, or needed to talk to me, and I shunned her. And there's been times in my life where like I would have wanted the same thing, like, where I would have went to somebody and said, "Hey, I really need to talk to you. I really need to talk to you. I really need to talk to somebody. I really want to talk to somebody." And those people weren't there for me. And this could have been her situation for me. You know, so we to what I thought hashed it out. You know, and I basically told her, and I was like, "Listen, like," and I told her about the dreams and everything like that, and how intense they are and shit. And I was like, "Listen, I mean, if you're not seeing anybody, I'd really like to take you out one night." And she was like, "Well, I'm kind of talking to a guy right now." I'm like, "That's fine. I mean, that's 100% okay. This was just one of those things that like I had to get out to you, so like it wouldn't eat me up on the inside. And she was like, no, wait a minute. I didn't say I was seeing anybody. I just said I was talking to somebody. If things change, we can explore this later. I was like, okay, that's fine too. I'm not gonna push you to one thing or the other, you know. And then one day, she posted a picture on Snapchat. I complimented her. She said I look fat. I was like, you don't look fat. And then after that, she blocked me on Snapchat. So I went to Facebook and I was like, is there a reason why you blocked me on Snapchat? No response. You know? I think I can't remember, but I think I messaged her something again on Facebook, and then one day I was getting angry about it. I was just like, you know what? If you don't want to talk to me anymore, you at least owe me a fucking explanation this time. I gave you an explanation as to what I did. You fucking owe me. So I was like, fuck this. So like, I'm going to Facebook to tell her that. Like, fucking, if you don't want to talk to me, fine. But you fucking owe me an explanation. After all the fucking shit that we've been through, you fucking owe me an explanation. And I went to Facebook and I was blocked. You know, and and it was over. I did have I've attempted numerous times to reach out and contact her. I've attempted to get her a copy of the book so she could read the book to see what I thought about this. I've attempted to message her on a Snapchat under different names. I was able to message her one time under a different name on Snapchat, but once she read the message, right back to Blocksville. I've messaged her under different Facebook names just to be like, listen, if you just hear what I have to say, you can do whatever you want after that. You can block me, you can do whatever. I just want you to hear what I have to say about everything, and then you can fucking go on your own. Like, go your own way. It wasn't even about like, oh fuck, come on, I really want this date and shit. Like, it wasn't even about that at that point. At first it was. It was just like, come on, man, I really want to take you out, which I did. I did want to take her out one night. Which which I remember she was just like, well, do you have weed? And I was just like, well, I don't have weed, but I mean, I'm not proud of this, but I mean, I can get you alcohol. Which, I mean, that shows you how fucking, desperate I fucking was to want to take her out, because, like, I would never supply to a fucking minor. But, where was I going with this story? Oh, yeah. So, I'm just like, if you just hear what I have to say, you can do whatever the fuck you want after that. You can fucking block me. You can come run me over with your car. Fucking whatever. That's all I want is for you to hear me out. And no matter what fucking fake name it was or anything like that, she just wouldn't hear it out. So so again, I'm thinking like, okay, that's that. Game over. Like it's over. But the subconscious thought otherwise. Even to this day, the day of this recording, April 16th, 2024, I still occasionally dream of her. And it's the weirdest fucking thing. They're not as intense as they used to be as time has gone on. But she still pops up there every now and then. This crazy fucking Russian girl just showed up in my life at Hy-Vee, and somehow still shows up in my head every now and then. It's the most bizarre thing. So yeah, it's just really weird. Because like, and again, I know what you're thinking. Like, oh fuck, you were that in love with her. I was never in love with her. Like it sounds weird, but like I wasn't. It was just one of those things. Again, the best thing I can compare it to is a food craving. It was just like, fuck, just hear me out. And again, like eventually it was just like, I just, like, let me take you out one night. And again, she was open to that. But then one day, it just all of a sudden flipped the script. and just blocked me. And like that's what I want, because I can't tell you, I can't tell you how many times in my life somebody just decided to walk out of my life and just not tell me. I can't tell you. You know, and all I've ever wanted out of those situations is an explanation. If any of those people who just decided to walk out of my life without telling me have just come to me and said, "Hey, I can't be your friend anymore because of this," or like, we can't hang out anymore because of this. Um, it still would have hurt, but at least then I would have known. You know what I'm saying? And this is like one of those situations there where like you just all of a sudden up and just fucking left one day, especially after like a genuine conversation we were having. You know, that's what fucking really bothers me about it. You know, so yeah, I've tried numerous times just be like, hey, please hear me out. Um, so yeah, I do want to leave you guys with a quote that I wrote in my book. If I could just grab my book here for a second, because for some reason, a lot of this stuff reminds me of the TV show The Wonder Years. So when I was writing the book, um, I wrote something that like just was very Wonder Yearish to me about Tatiana. And it's probably, I don't consider myself like a big time writer. The fact that I even wrote one book is kind of fucking shocking to me to this day. And yeah, the book is riddled with fucking, typos and such like that. But like, out of everything I've fucking written in this book, this is probably one of my favorite things that I wrote. And it goes like this. Sometimes in life you can solve mysteries. Sometimes you ask questions and you may not like the answer you get, but you get closure. But it looks like with Tatiana, the case will never be closed. And I will always have questions about her, and she will always be a part of not only my memory and my book, but in a strange way, myself as well. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Stories No One Asked for the podcast. And stick around for more. I am the Artist Version 1. Be breezy.